What's good? What's poppin'? Welcome to the Unknowns podcast. It's your girl, your host, Shady Cartier. What's poppin'? You already know. It's your boy.
Mobius.
You know it. You know it. It's a tough day, man. There's gonna be a lot of long, hard, deep breaths on this episode. I would like to think they signify deep thought, perhaps. But anyway, what's up, Mobius? What's going on with you on this 7th episode? All Black Everything Unknown Unknowns podcast on 9/11, buddy.
It is 9/11, and it is. I made a post about this earlier on that other account. It's I called it our Pearl Harbor, and it's because that even if you're not American or you don't live anywhere around the country, or have anything to do with us, allies or otherwise, it's the one day that happened here that changed the world as we know it. In Pearl Harbor, we got hit by the Japanese and entered the war, and subsequently dropped 2 nukes on Japan, and we're still the only country on the planet that's used it in war. And a bunch of things happen, and so modern U.S. is 2001 rolls around. There was other attempts on the World Trade Center before that. There's a lot of other unanswered questions as a result. The Oklahoma City bombing happened, a bunch of other stuff happened, and then 9/11, 2001, and now we're here. Patriot Act, NDA 2012, all that fun stuff. So, welcome to modern U.S. history. Today is 9/11/2020. Where were you?
Where were you? That's the question we want to pose to our IG. Listen, man, it's been moving real slow. I know we're not like huge social media addicts. I mean, it takes a lot of time to like do research and be informed. And right now is the time to vote. And like it's a lot going on. So we definitely wanted to bring to you as much information as we could. And we try to on every episode. But just interact with us, man. Just hit us up. If you hit us up, we will definitely respond. And so enough said. Hit us on the Instagram, unknowns podcast on Instagram. Instead of the O's, put a 0. And on the second unknown, it's unknowns with an S, but it's not an S, it's a 5. Get with us. This is 7th episode. You should have been done followed us on Instagram or figured out how to spell it by now. Like, real talk, get with me. But thanks for the love. So, Mobius posed the question of the day. Long story short. Long-winded.
It is
Shady
the
Cartier.
question. This is where everyone remembers where they were.
Yeah.
To excruciating detail. So,
yeah.
Of course, for us, it's school. But,
yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
For you, okay, so you can go ahead.
Well,
what class?
What grade? I don't know.
Yeah.
What grade? I don't know. I would have to do math, ladies and gentlemen. Probably the 10th grade, though. I'm taking a guess. But, yeah, I was in school, I don't know, maybe math class. In my school, we had TVs in every classroom.
Hey.
And, like, 5 computers. So the TVs weren't, like, normally on or anything. But I remember when it came on the PA system at the school and basically, like, told everybody at the school, don't panic. And then of course, like, I don't know what they thought, sending out a mass message of don't panic, shout out to Donald Trump, what you thought don't panic was going to do, because then the teachers, at least in my class, they cut the TV on and you was able to watch it. So I don't know if your school had TVs or anybody listening, but how else would you have gotten the information? So we were, I don't know. We was in it watching it, and that did not help the situation.
We were kids, I mean, like, yeah, high school's kids too.
Yeah,
I was in
you must
elementary
have
school.
middle. Oh,
I was in
damn.
elementary school, so I know this was after. Were you in high school or middle school?
I was
High school.
like it must have been ninth or 10th grade, probably ninth grade.
Ninth.
I graduated 04.
Because
so.
I was in.
Oh, it was 9/11, so no, it was in my 10th grade.
10th grade.
Yeah.
I was in like third or fourth grade, maybe fifth.
Yeah, maybe.
It's 2001, so.
Yeah, you wasn't that old.
Yeah. Math, more math. But no, so I was in class. We didn't have like TVs in every classroom or anything like that. But I remember them rolling the TV in.
Oh my goodness!
For that.
Yeah. Did they do an announcement first?
No, all the teachers just kind of gathered up real quick. Just hey, we'll be right back. And then they gathered up. There was an extended absence of teacher. And but we kids, we chilling, whatever. And then they came back, and then quietly to each individual class, just everybody closed their doors, and they made an announcement. Hey, so there's something going on, and a lot of you won't understand this. This might affect you. This may not. And your parents will probably come and get you very soon. And then they cut the TV on, and as a kid, it looks like a movie. Because there wasn't really any context. There's the news going on, but it just you seen Die Hard? Yeah, that's totally a Christmas movie. This looks like that as a kid.
Damn.
And so, even with context, you still don't quite understand what's happening.
Wow.
You just know, hey, did you hear that? We're getting out. All right. But we lived close to the
popped off.
At
we're
that
getting
point,
out of school.
At that point, we still lived close to. At least I still lived close to the school, so it was. Mom didn't come and get me that day. I went home, or maybe my dad got. I don't quite remember after that, but yeah, I remember them rolling the TV in and cutting it on and watching it and talking amongst ourselves very quietly, and then after several moments they cut the TV off, and then one by one. Classes were getting dismissed and buses started pulling up and getting people and sending them home and a lot of parents who would normally have been there pulling up and hurriedly with haste grabbing their kids and leaving. And
that's tough, man.
I walked out the back of the school or the front and then went home and
walk home like a regular day.
Yeah, because I remember because when I got home, it's earlier than we would normally get home. So get home at 4 or 5, and then you gotta run home, so I could watch some Dragon Ball Z Toonami. This was way earlier than that, and on every single channel. It was the same. It was the tower. At that point, by the time I got home, at that point, both towers had already come down, and it was just okay. America at war. We're under attack. Who did it? Who's responsible? Is it a bombing? What else is going on? Where are we sending our troops to? We're gonna get them. We're gonna get the guys who did this. Blah blah blah, and the rest is history. And so, I remember Mom coming home later. I think either she was there and then left, or she was coming home. But I definitely remember in the living room at least. Maybe she was in the bedroom, but I was in the living room for a decent amount of time by myself. For a decent amount of time by myself, watching this, processing. And that was
trying to at that age. Yeah. I think it's real crazy that you say I definitely never thought about it like that. Being at that age. And seeing it and looking at it I don't know what the flip is going on. Is this a movie? And that just brings us to the whole, desensitization. And, we talked about that on the gaming episode. As a child, you just so used to, in America, you just so used to seeing violence. You so used to being exposed to violence. You so used to the movies called action movies where they're murdering and killing and a million people are dying, and it's just okay, well, I don't know these people anyway. oh, these people are fake. So what's the difference? Because I'm watching it on TV, but you telling me it's real. Like I remember having a really fucked up attitude, guys. When I tell you this, I was at school. We had the TV on, like I said, and you just brought back a whole lot of like memories of like what were you thinking about? Not just where were you. What was your mindset? You know what I'm saying? You touched on that. I didn't touch on that. And I didn't think about it until you was telling yours. Like, really? I just remember my whole mindset was like mad fucked up. I was just like, oh yeah, I don't know them anyway. Like,
I didn't know.
Them people in New York died?
Whatever.
Well, we might be next though. And you know, come to find out, they say the plane where they took them over with the box cutters and all that. They ended up crashing in PA, and they was on the way to the White House or this and that. Like it would have happened around here. It still wouldn't have affected me none. But I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's still like it would have been more real for me, perhaps, if you know, if it would have happened where I was at. But I was just like, I don't know nobody in New York, so fucked up attitude. Like, what's happening right now? Like, people are dying. People die all over the world. Nobody gives a fuck. And at that time, like in middle school, I had learned about the women who were getting killed overseas, the women who were marrying men, the American women who were marrying men overseas, and then getting stuck over there because they would take their passport. It was the custom for the women, the Muslim countries. I hate to talk about that. You know, it was a custom for the women to not have any control. And so when you get over there, you know, the lady, she's American. She ain't know she had to put on the hijab. And, you know, she didn't have any more rights. And he took, you know, her ID, her passport, everything. She was stuck over there. Had her having babies over there, couldn't go back to America. You know what I'm saying? So at that time, I was just aware of international issues and stress and pain and suffering. And it was just like, for this event to be happening in America, it really, damn, like, it's real fucked up to say. It really ain't mean shit to me. It really didn't. It wasn't until years later on The Real World.
The TV show or being
on
in the
the fucking TV show.
Oh.
It was like years later, maybe like 2 years later. I think I finally turned 18 or 19, and yeah, 18 or something, 17 or 18. So it was a few years later, not just 2 years. It was a few years later, and I was watching The Real World, and they, in that season or whatever, they were recording in New York.
Yeah.
When that shit had happened. And it was like devastating for them. And you know, and the way they got that show set up is a lot of people from different places.
Yeah.
And so it was just like, okay, even the people, you know, because they were now in New York, living in New York for the first time. I've been to New York growing up. Like, let's not get it twisted. It's not like I ain't never been there before. I ain't never seen it. So it wasn't nothing relative to me. You know, on any level, it wasn't until I saw them experience that level of pain and I grew up
with them.
And you know, no, not with the show. Just grew up, period. Yeah. Because when it happened, again, I'm young. Like, your level of desensitization was different from mine. I was in my, you know...
Well, I wouldn't say I was desensitized.
Pre-teens.
I just didn't understand what was happening.
Well, yes. But I mean, as far as, like, I see action movies and people die, I'm watching something on TV and people are dying. Not being able to distinguish the difference. That desensitization. Because, I mean, I guess that's more of, like, the exposure to it. Perhaps. It just really, you know, whatever the case was, personal growth, I finally understood what it meant to say American lives were lost. That never meant anything to me. This was probably like the first time I ever voted too, around the same time. You know what I'm saying?
You
Like, just really.
School? Or is this
no,
after?
No, this
that?
is
Wait,
after.
years.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is that. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I was mature. Like, when this shit happened, I was young and I gave no fucks. I was angsty self-centered. Like, you know how fucking teens are. Like, I hate everything. I don't care about nothing.
Yeah.
And, I was miserable. And so when that happened, I just, it didn't mean what it meant to me at that time when I finally understood that statement. Because even still, like, I'm older and I'm not feeling that same way about losing American lives.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not feeling that same way.
No.
I don't even know what that means. People all over the world is dying. Now I'm back to the same bullshit before. Like, people all over the world is dying.
It's a circle, because at first it's just, it doesn't affect me, I don't care. To then you do care because you understand the implications. You care, but it's just like
lives are lives.
Yeah,
and they, that's sad.
But then you get older and you become either jaded or you feel too much and have to turn it off.
Yeah,
and jaded, you're just like jaded is somewhat more realistic in terms of you've seen the world, you've seen how messed up it is, and every country's got blood on their hands except the new one, which has like 2 dudes in it.
What new country?
It's like in the middle of Europe somewhere. Dude, there was a
Trump
pocket of land. No, it was some dude who managed to get property.
Shout out to rich dudes who buy islands.
This ain't even a dude who bought an island. This was just like a small ass pocket of land, and he was just like, "This is."
He filed the paperwork to make it a country.
Yeah, this is unclaimed. I mean,
I wanted to do that.
You probably could.
Saw that it was on The Simpsons.
Because it actually happened.
Boom, I could do that.
But so okay, so you get jaded, and then it turns back into whatever. People die, because you can't feel that much or you'll go insane. But
jaded. Why vote? Why try? Yeah. Why bother? What's the point? Kind of attitude.
Yeah.
There's
different levels of it.
Of course,
like
of course.
doomer
But then there's
and
the
stuff
other
like
side.
that. But
oh shit.
So
we get into that.
Nah. But okay, so piggybacking off what you just said about like your
the growth.
For me, I didn't really understand what had happened, and I got to call my dad because I don't know when we went back to Jersey. After 9/11, I don't know when we went back. To like the first time we went back.
2 years.
That's September, so we were in school, so it was probably the next year. It was the next year, or maybe like
y'all
Christmas.
ain't go for Christmas like y'all supposed to.
Probably not, but I would have to call him and check. But so she lived in Newark, New Jersey. My grandma.
Real close.
Or in that general area, and there's a turnpike, and there's a bunch of other stuff. There's a bridge, and right across all of that.
Don't die.
Is New York City. And
shout out to bridges to New York.
To New York. Several big bridges.
If
and
somebody
some tunnels.
ever tells
shout out to tunnels.
I'm by the bridge.
Yeah.
They are clearly
a tourist. The biggest tourist.
I'm at the hotel by the bridge. I just went across the bridge. There is no the bridge. Yeah. You got to get
the Brooklyn
specific.
Bridge.
I need
Manhattan Bridge. I'm pretty sure there's a bridge named after Lincoln or something.
This is Manhattan Bridge. I don't think that's the name of the bridge, but anyway.
So whatever turnpike and tunnel. Oh no, it's Lincoln Tunnel. It's the Lincoln Tunnel. Whoops.
Anyway.
But yeah, the last time I was there, which was that summer before September, the towers were there. You could see they had just put up the or were in the process of putting up the little light rail that's still there now because she lived by the train yard. You could, with binoculars, you could see a bit of the Statue of Liberty in Ellis Island. So it was a spectacular view.
Wow,
and
where y'all was.
Yeah, fireworks, all that.
Shout out to New Jersey, yo. It's some spots over there like it's disadvantages, yo. It's disadvantages.
It ain't New York.
Shout out to black culture.
It's still up there. But to come back whenever we came back, which was probably the next year, to see the towers not there anymore was crippling. And I can't imagine how loud that must have been to wake up that morning and then look out your window and see planes and smoke and fire and engines and helicopters, all that happening all at the same time.
And there's absolutely nothing you can do about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's,
And
yeah,
it's nothing you can do about it, and it's not something that's in your frame of reference to ever really have happened there like that. Like if you lived in any like if you well I mean so they were there. Imagine they were there for the other attack where those guys took the van and blew up the parking garage under the World Trade. So they were there for that, but it didn't work. So to see that it's just like, oh man, this hey, that was a close call, and that's it. That's all it really ever is, until something like Pearl Harbor happens, or 9/11 happens, or the Boston bombing happens, or any of these other attacks,
well,
But yeah, I mean that's where we were. Where were you guys?
yeah. So hit us on the IG, man. And let us know, where were you on 9/11? Let's make this a conversation. Like, at the end of the day, we can't forget about that shit. And like, listen, I love going down the rabbit hole. Like, y'all already know it's episode 7. If y'all listen to any of the previous episodes, you know me. Oreo, he be on his own thing. I'm all about the rabbit hole. But I ain't want to make this about the 9/11. I hate to use the word conspiracy. There's connotations of it's not true or negativity when you use that word, and I'm not with it. Like, it's a lot of truth to it. Like, there's mad documentaries. Shout out to all the documentaries proving the BS that happened behind 9/11. But what we really wanted to focus on, like I said, important times in history that we need not forget. So, spotlight on Mobius. Black Wall Street happened 5/31 till 6/1/1921.
Yep.
So that was just overnight, just 2 days or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So
so the good news is, after Floyd and after Breonna, and those incidents, the spotlight on that has been tremendous. And then we had Juneteenth, and a lot more people talking about it.
Yeah.
And then the president was like, "I made Juneteenth," or he said something ridiculous, and now more people know about it. So that's that's becoming a much more known incident. But it's still like,
just shine a little light on it though, for people who don't know. What happened.
So
Black
Wall Street is a small. It's what it sounds like. It's the Wall Street, but it's for black people, and built by black people. They set up this town with businesses and churches, and it was a pretty well thriving community, and
white people ain't like it. They was like, "We gonna burn you down." Whatever. Black people was getting money. We ain't even
which is always the case, and anytime you hear any of these stories, it seems like that's always the case, and it was still.
So shout out to Tulsa, Oklahoma, the Greenwood District. Shout out, you know what I'm saying, to anybody who was there, anybody who's related to anybody that was a part of that. I mean, this has been happening for years, for hundreds
of years, literally
hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, literally. So shout out to those family members. I'm just gonna shine a little bit more light on it. In 1921, Tulsa, Oklahoma Greenwood District, known as Black Wall Street, was one of the most prosperous African American communities in the U.S. But on May 31st of that year, the Tulsa Tribune reported that a black man, Dick Rowland, attempted to rape a white woman, Sarah Page. Whites in the area refused to wait for the investigative process to play out, sparking 2 days of unprecedented racial violence. 35 city blocks went up in flames, and 300 people died and 800 were injured. Like, that's sick, bro. That's sick. In defense of white female virtue was the expressed motivation for the collective racial violence. Yeah, right. They was just looking, bro. Talking about just looking for a reason. Talking about sitting around with your gun and being like,
I wish a
I wish. Like, that's what I was trying to say the whole time.
Emmett Till.
Bro, Mobius took it out my head, y'all. Like, for real. That's what I was trying to say. That I wish it would attitude, bro. That shit is dangerous. It don't matter what your race is. That whole mindset is like, it's a sickness. Mm-hmm. It's a virus. It's disgusting. Like, it will ruin your life and it will destroy the lives of many other people.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
is that the same thing happened with Emmett Till, just in defense of white virtue? It's literally the same thing. They killed him. I mean, they didn't burn a whole county down.
Yo, and killed 300 people.
Yeah, but
like,
you know,
go, like, that was sick. That was crazy.
Moment of silence for that.
Moment of silence, bro. Anyway.
What else?
Chris Dorner.
Chris Dorner. So
the Chris Dorner manhunt happened February 3rd to February 12th, 1993. 1993.
So I'll just gloss over it and you can pull up the full thing. So Chris Dorner was a veteran. He joined the LAPD and served his country as he did when he was in the military. And something happened. He was with another officer, and he reported them for misconduct of some sort. And
shout out to
Ducky. Quack. LAPD swept it under the rug, and then kind of buried him. They just, nope, you're complaining about this, just let it go, and he's like, well, no, because I'm supposed to, this is what you're supposed to do, truth, honesty, integrity, protect, serve, all that stuff. And so he was fired and more or less had his life ruined. And then he wrote a manifesto and was like, this is what this is what you do to people for trying to do the right thing.
Posted it on Facebook.
And Facebook didn't exist that day. What?
Manifesto posted by Dorner on Facebook declared unconventional, asymmetric warfare upon the Los Angeles Police Department, their families, and their associates. It's the LAPD. Admittedly, publicly, he fired in retaliation for reporting excessive force. So he was reporting that y'all are fucking people up.
Yep. And over. And
over.
And so he was fired, had his life ruined, and then he wrote that manifesto and then started attacking cops.
Yeah, because it was 2013, not 1993.
What? Oh, no, I might have been looking at different.
It's 2013.
2013.
So my bad, guys. February 12th, 2013. February 3rd to February 12th, 2013, guys. He committed a series of shootings in Orange County. Christopher Jordan Donner, a Los Angeles police officer, committed a series of shootings in Orange County, Los Angeles, Riverside County, California, and San Bernardino County. The victims were police and civilians, including police family members. Dorner killed 4 people and wounded 3 others. It's very unfortunate. I mean, when you know the truth and you're sick and you're tired and you're disgusted, the
same thing.
I'm not saying that all that is right here on the unknown unknowns. That's a thing. We don't know everything. We just know what we do know, and these are alleged facts. Cause fuck, we can't trust Wikipedia, can't trust Google, can't trust the news. You know what I'm saying? The only thing I would trust is the manifesto. That's as close to as hard as we get, you know what I'm saying, to the mindset of his truth and how he really felt, other than looking at his actions. And it's just, it's unfortunate. Like, it's unfortunate. Sometimes you feel like it ain't no way out. And
so why?
Shout out to Christ.
He wrote a manifesto, so we have an idea of the why. How did this happen? Look at his manifesto. He was screwed over by his superiors who were supposed to be there to protect him. And then, so the next one is the Texas shooting. The same thing. It's did you write that down?
Heck no. What's up with Texas?
All right, so in Texas, the Dallas police shootings of I think that was 2016. They got ambushed by someone who was in the military.
The El Paso shooting?
No, this was
the mass shooting that occurred at Walmart.
No. Oh. This was Dallas. This was the Dallas ambush.
So many shootings in Texas. Damn, it's lit. Shout out to Texas. Ooh, shout out to all my exes. Ooh, shout out to all my exes live in Texas. Whoever made that song. All right. We lit.
I think that you're serenading the duck.
Oh God. Annoying. Not from Texas.
So same thing. Well, this person wasn't a cop, but they were in the military. Several high-profile incidents involving black people getting killed by police actions, unarmed, sparked this person's aggression and subsequent ambush.
Finally got it. Yeah, I wrote his name. That was the problem, but that wasn't the next thing. All right, go ahead.
Well, I mean, it's the why. So why did that happen, and why did this happen?
July 7th, 2016, Michael Xavier Johnson. Go ahead.
Same thing. Outrage due to police accountability or lack thereof, and the high-profile incidents of black people that had been killed. He grabbed some weapons and went down and started ambushing cops, only to be killed by the SWAT team after some time ambushing these cops. And
this is ill. Okay, so let me read it. You done?
Yeah.
Yeah, good job. Okay. On July 7, 2016, Mikey Xavier Johnson ambushed and fired upon a group of police officers in Dallas, Texas, killing 5 officers and injuring 9 others. 2 civilians were also wounded. Johnson was an Army Reserve Afghan war veteran and was angry over police shootings of black men. He stated that he wanted to kill white people, especially white officers. I don't know if he said that. But that's what Wikipedia said. And that's what he did. He was bussing. The shooting happened at the end of the protest against the police killings of Alton Sterling in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and Philando Castile in Falcon Heights, Minnesota.
That was like
which
the same
had
week.
Occurred the preceding days. Lit. Following the shooting, Johnson fled inside a building on the campus of El Centro College. Police followed him there and a standoff ensued. In the early hours of July 8th, police killed Johnson with a bomb attached to a remote-controlled disposable robot.
Yep.
Technology, ladies and gentlemen, will get your ass. The police is out here. They lit. They got drones. It was the first time U.S. law enforcement had used a robot to kill somebody. Hey, they some robot killers. If you kill somebody with a robot, are you still the killer? Yes. Stop trying to displace your responsibility.
It's not
you
a robot.
Are a murderer.
It's not a robot.
Just because you pulled the trigger, you still pulled the trigger. You still pressed the button on the keyboard.
Humans had to be involved.
Stop fucking playing. This ain't no game.
But okay,
come on.
So that wasn't the next one on the list that we wrote down, but it's the why. It's connected as to the why. Why did that happen? How did this happen? Well, there you go. There's the circumstances are the same, and so that accountability, it just so you got to ask these questions. And people don't want to ask these questions. They'll stop you as soon as, somebody a ex-cop got killed, blah, blah, Blue Lives Matter. They do. Yeah, they do. We've got cops in our family. I've got friends that are cops. So I'm not saying that they don't. It's the same thing with Black Lives Matter versus All Lives Matter. Yes, all lives do matter, but Black Lives Matter too. And so you have to have this conversation. And to anyone who would shut you down, you are part of the problem. You're not listening to these people's
Yeah,
grievances.
everybody got problems, and so that don't mean like one person problem is bigger than the other. We just there's a time and a place for everything, and we just have to be respectful of the real issues at hand that need to be resolved. And the real issues is really like, to me, all the life or death issues across the board. It's not about race. It's not just about how black people are treated. It's, the protocol and the officers that we pick, the people that we give the responsibility to do these things, and their level of, willingness to uphold the responsibility, and the ultimately is a gift that they've been given. Um, so LA Rise was next.
LA riots. That's the famous or infamous Rodney King riots.
What?
I mean, you can call it what you want. It's the LA riots of '92. Everybody knows what it is. Um, I think. Well, now they're probably tied for what's been going on because the whole country's on fire right now. But before that, I think that was like the most expensive riots in U.S. history, and then the Watts riots were that after that. Um, so we're gonna talk about it. It's the '92 LA riots, sometimes called the LA riots uprising. A series of riots and civil disturbances that occurred in Los Angeles County in April and May of 1992, which happened after cops in South Central Los Angeles were acquitted for the excessive beating of Rodney King, and which had been videotaped and broadcast across the country. Uh, Billions of dollars of damage later, several days of rioting, and the deployment of the National Guard resulted in the conversation happening. The huge distrust of cops in general, but now it's televised because you got people in New York saying the same thing that's happening up there. You got the people in LA
Yeah.
saying the same things happening down there, and then little other pockets of the country. So that the question, which is
Same
really
shit.
important here, is why did it happen? How does this keep happening? Well, black people have been saying the same thing for hundreds of years. It's always been happening. You're just hearing about it, or it's always been happening. You're just now seeing it more, or it's been happening. It's still happening, but now we have some level of proof, and so it's it's becoming of us as a society and as Americans to try to remedy this issue, which is
Mm.
police brutality, and accountability, um, cutting their funding versus remanaging it. Definitely remanage it. They need more training, so to cut their funding would cause more of the issues that we're having now. To reallocate it means to cut their budget. Oh, you don't need this many cars. You don't need this many cops. Hire more civil servants. Hire more mental health professionals so that we don't have these problems. And that's part of the problem because a lot of these issues we're having now is corruption or accountability or the lack thereof. And so what we've just talked about for the last several minutes now is separate from those issues, but it's all encompassing. It's all a part of that same conversation. So, you got anything you want to add to that?
Nah, man. You hit that one. I'm trying to get to this, the Nat Turner joint. So, the next one, though, is the DC Navy Yard shooting. That happened September 13th, 2013.
That goes more into the mental health. I just
Yeah,
glossed
and
over it
we
real
needed
quickly.
to. Yeah. I mean, I guess that was like a nice little light segue to that.
Yeah, it goes back into that from what I read, and it's all on Wikipedia, so mm, it may or may not be the truth, but um, that one was the short version is Angry black guy takes a shotgun and goes to the Navy Yard in D.C. and shoots several of his coworkers. The end. The question part goes into okay, so he worked for the government. He served his country. Cool, cool. But did he or did he not have mental health issues? Because there's some reports that said that he had complaints about noises or sonic attacks, or he started talking to himself, and so on and so forth. So if we have these professionals that are talking about these issues and can't get the help they need, well, there's a big problem, because they're the tip of the spear for the defense of the country and its interests, let alone you know people who may or may not have access to firearms, or people who slip under the radar. So
Yeah.
when you call the cops, just like what happened somewhat recently with the guy, actually I don't know when that was, but the guy who got killed by the cops after they knelt on him for several moments in the cold, because he was naked and he was freaking out. And I think that was Rochester, New York, where he had died. It's the same thing. You're calling the cops for every little thing or every major thing, and they're not equipped to handle all this huge spectrum of issues. It's okay. Call 911. Is this an emergency? No. Well, that's not really enough information before you starting up cruisers to go deal with this potential problem. Okay, are there any civilian assets in the area that can try to calm this situation down? And they would be armed with mainly first aid and things to diffuse situations. Hey, you want a bottle of water? You just want to talk about it? These are things that
What?
that we're talking about, mental health and issues that
Well, okay.
cops have to deal with, but they're not equipped to.
But they're not equipped to.
You're trying to, okay, you're as a civilian, you're
Not all domestic disputes and issues are issues that
That
are
cops respond to.
truly at heart to be resolved by the
police, right? That's
there
more
are
or less what I'm trying to
bigger,
say.
larger issues at hand. So I understand that they may not be prepared to handle these issues,
Mm-hmm.
but they should be trained to have some type of understanding of where you need to go. And I guess to me, that's why the serve part of protect is where the time you spend researching and understanding the community that you are serving. And so, I understand they don't hire inside the community for a reason, for safety reasons, for the officer, boom, makes all the sense in the world. Um, a community they're familiar with, but even regardless, there should be classes on the history, the type of people, the founders of the city. You know what I'm saying? Like, very important. It's very important to know the community that you are serving, and learn how to relate. And to me, I mean, health and mental health is all encompassing. When you say serve, if you're here to kill people, you should be here to save lives also. And so you should know how to do that. And so when I found out, they say when you call 911, there's a 50-50 chance that a fire truck is going to show up. I was like, what are you talking about? Why would a fire truck show up? It was like, because if they're closer, they got to, the ambulance, the first responders,
Mm-hmm.
they have a team for that, a first aid team, you know what I'm saying? And they could get you to an ambulance or the hospital or whatever. Like, and I thought that was absolutely crazy. But it makes sense. Because I can't just be out here, okay, I'm going to get you out the fire, but then after that, what, you going to die from smoke inhalation? Because between the time that I got you out the fire to the hospital, you could have fucking died, because there's procedures that are in place to keep you alive.
Well, it depends on the call.
I'm saying, do you understand though? Like, there's steps in place. Certain things go hand in hand.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. If you out here to take people's lives, your job should also to be to know how to save people's lives, to detect and deter, like it and assess. Like, your job is not to just watch people for drugs and alcohol and things that are going to kill them, but it's also to serve and protect. Like, what are you talking about? And you cannot protect the community if you are not prepared. And that's what that's what you were saying. Like, not you're not prepared, and there should be somebody out there to talk to you, to give you water, to be there for you.
That's the civilian
to
component.
Give you a second, a third party. There ain't no civilian component.
But that's what I'm
all
saying.
All of that sounds really nice, but it's either going to be paid for nonprofit. It's going to be something that the city starts up, or it's going to be government money, and the government.
Well, okay, so I just watched a video about the NYPD's budget, and they had last year had a $6 billion budget. They're the most funded police force on the planet, besides maybe like.
And they got cams, don't they?
Yeah.
They better have body cams. They got all that bread and on their car too.
Yeah. No,
you got me fucked up. New York City, wild as shit.
But they're not obligated to release that footage, and that's a big part of the problem. We're gonna blah 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 police accountability, but okay, so we're gonna throw cop cams on everything. We're gonna throw body cams on everything, but we're not gonna. We don't have to release that footage.
But that's why they said if the government funds you, then you have to. Mm-hmm. There's gonna be the shit put in place. You're gonna have to release this fucking footage to the government.
Mm-hmm. Now, where the government release it is another story. But I digress.
That shit ain't none of that shit right.
No, and that's it's a circle.
I digress. So ain't none of that shit right.
You see the circle we've just gone into, like, so it's all the same conversation. Well, we don't need Black Lives Matter wants police cut funding. No, not necessarily. You need to reallocate it. If you have a civilian segment of any agency and it's still under the umbrella of their cops, or maybe deputized or something. Okay, you call 911, both civilian responder and who's medically trained, to at least to the level of EMT or so, civilian responder and armed uniformed officer responds. You see the civilian comes up, hey man, what's going on? You just want to talk about it? Got a bottle of water? Are you hurt? No, I'm not a cop. Let's just talk. What's going on? Okay, you're getting violent. Okay, and then the situation gets kind of dangerous. Okay, well then the uniformed officers would step up and go, your way isn't working. I need you to calm down, or you're gonna get tased. That seems like a decent use of force, or a decent escalation of force. Now, sometimes the cops will be by themselves. Same thing. Hey, you just want to talk about it? You're not in trouble. Okay, you kind of are in trouble, but it's not that big a deal. Just go ahead and have a seat on the ground. Here's a bottle of water. But that's not what's happening. It's 0 to 100 like that, and as a result, you get a lot of what is happening around the country and what's been happening for the last several hundred years. I don't know. It's a problem, and we're having this conversation.
Fuck Donald Trump.
He's not making it any better.
Oh shit! Wrong conversation. Or was that the right conversation?
It's a conversation. He's not helping the situation. Any of the situations.
One of my favorite conversations.
Did we pick a poem before we started this?
No,
were you picking one?
Yeah, that's what I was.
Okay, you gotta do your Nat Turner thing, and we're gonna hit that poem.
Or should I? Yeah, I guess. Okay. Yeah. You can't trust anybody, guys.
I don't know if I rambled too much. I'm sorry.
You definitely did. But nobody's gonna yell at you on the Unknowns podcast about the rambling. And if you don't like the rambling, I want you to hit us on the Instagram and let us know. Unknowns podcast. There's only one S that's not an S, is a 5 on our IG name. So please try to get that shit together. Like, I need somebody to follow us. I need at least one follower. Like, please, I try not to make it too hard. It's unknown. I mean, it's a 0 instead of a O. I didn't think that was a big deal. Okay, Nat Turner Slave Rebellion. That's what I wanted to get into, guys. I just wanted to represent people who was like, I don't like this shit you putting me through. and I'm gonna go anywhere else. I'm gonna get the fuck out of here. Okay.
Literally.
Like, literally, I'm gonna get the fuck. Okay. Nat Turner's rebellion, also known, was the rebellion of enslaved black people that took place in Southampton County, Virginia. Shout out to fuck Virginia. I mean, shout out to Virginians for lovers. Shout out to, in Virginia, it just became legal to marry, for black people and white people to marry.
Just became?
Like, whatever, within 10 years or some shit. It's pretty recent.
That was like the 50 years ago or something.
Nah, I don't care. It was like 10 years ago or some shit. Maybe 20 years. I don't give a fuck. Y'all still was like, definitely not. And definitely not. Like, that's not that long ago.
No, still within people's recent
They
memory,
was throwing
but not 10
motherfuckers
years
in
ago.
jail, but that's not my bad, y'all. That's not what we was talking about. In Southampton County, Virginia, in August 1831, led by Nat Turner. Okay, the enslaved black people, they was like, fuck it. Okay, the insurrectionists killed between 55 to 65 people, at least 51 whom were white. The rebellion was put down within a few days, but Turner survived in hiding for more than 2 months afterwards. The rebellion was effectively suppressed at Belmont Plantation on the morning of August 23rd, 1831, unfortunately. All right. There was widespread fear in the aftermath, and white militias organized in retaliation and opposition to the enslaved people. So they was mad, these white people, right? This shit about to get horrible. They was pissed. The state executed 56 slaves accused of being a part of the rebellion, and many non-participant slaves were punished in a frenzy. Approximately 120 slaves and free blacks were murdered by militias and mobs in the area. State legislatures passed new laws prohibiting education of slaves and free black people, restricting rights of assembly and other civil liberties for free black people. Oh, okay. So these niggas was free and they was like, hold on.
Nah,
Y'all slaves is trying to live like the free niggas? Excuse me. Ninjas? Excuse me. Nah, not blacks. We gonna go back to ninjas. Y'all slave ones trying to be like the free ones. We not having it. And we, even if y'all become free, now we gonna give you fucked up rules while you free. Okay? Just so we clear. Alright, so let me re-say the last sentence. Restricting the rights of assembly and other civil liberties for free black people and requiring white ministers to be present at all worship services. So, you know, y'all ninjas definitely can't have no church. Y'all definitely can't have no church if ain't no white man up in his camp to be like, oh yeah, that's good and that's acceptable. All I got is some wild ass poetry for y'all. I just wanted to spit that out. You know, I feel like, again, the topic was important times in history. We need not to forget a lot of this shit. Mobius, he put me in the game. He put me in the game with this shit. I ain't even know. Like, you know, shout out to conspiracies that ain't conspiracies. Like, if that shit is facts, then that shit is facts. Like, you ain't gotta put no other fucking words on that shit. No extra characteristics. Ain't no extras. Like, this ain't no fake news. Donald Trump, we got you on recording this. He a wild dude. I'm sorry for smacking books, y'all. I know it's probably like real loud for the virtual audience. I'm pretty disrespectful in that manner. I'll see if I can get that edited out. Donald Trump is a wild dude. All right, let's see if that works. Okay, so I'm just
one take squad.
I'm not really with the shit. So I'm just gonna throw this. Oh, I did the no fucks, didn't I? Yeah, okay, let's not fuck up and do that. Alright, so I'm gonna do the one next to it.
Which is?
Suffering in Silence.
I'm pretty sure we did not do that one.
Suffering in silence, my voice peeks from behind the curtains of sheets draped carefully over my face. Breathing lightly, warming thoughts of not being good enough and no hope, for I am not wicked, only pathetic and wanting better. The wrath they love, addicted to the trenches, guns blazing. Rain, symbolic of defeat, unrelenting, unrelenting. I will not give up or give in. Come home. My eyes wide now. I'm woke. This nigga gave me one snap. He a Betty. Ooh, ninja. You know we try and get it together. All black everything. Shout out to the poetry squad. Listen, you know, I'm just doing me. I'm just representing. I'm just representing y'all. So shout out, man. I hope y'all banged with the poetry. I hope y'all like that one. I really didn't have a name for it. Like it's not really called Suffering in Silence. So I don't know what to name that, but y'all could throw that on the Instagram too. Like, what y'all think about my poetry? Like, let me know if y'all even bang with it. Like, is y'all vibing with me? Is y'all feeling me? You know what I'm saying? You could just send me a message on a comment that say something like snaps. Like, I don't even care. Whatever. No, that's no.
Snap,
that was
crack, pop.
Yeah, not at all with what Mobius is talking about. So, you know, let's see. Did we touch on everything? Don't trust authority. Wow.
Question authority.
Question.
At the very least.
Question. Always question authority. I mean, always ask questions. Like, I feel like in general, like, that's going to keep you safe. Like, in general, I mean, and not even safe, but that's going to put you in a better position than you was at. And if somebody get mad when you asking questions, well, then they sketchy as hell anyway, or they just lazy and they don't want to answer the question. But it's better to know whether they're jiving you or somebody you can't trust, or whether they just being lazy. Like, that's good. Like, you don't, on certain things in your life, you might not necessarily want a lazy motherfucker on your team, but it's better to know they not out to get you, and that they just want to sleep. They just want to sleep.
She's looking.
No, I'm just playing. So, you know, definitely question everything. I don't know. Like, normally we share personal stories that's relative to the topic.
I mean, we did the 9/11 thing. I thought that was...
Yeah, I guess, but I felt like we didn't really have like stories. We took a nice amount of time, but
yeah.
Anyway, the point is, I wanted to touch on why I personally don't trust authority. And so I was put in some compromising situations with a mayor and a police officer. And so, and a doctor and a nurse. So I really, me personally, have an issue with authority. But for good reason. For good reason. And so, at the end of the day, we got to understand, like, not everyone is the same. Not every police officer that you encounter is going to be like the ones that we see on television that's killing and hiding bodies and driving them around town. Shout out to Baltimore and the blood and the sweat and the tears that's going on. I mean, that's been going on. That's Black history. If y'all don't know, y'all better go look up Baltimore. It was only a few years ago. You know what I'm saying? It was popping off in Baltimore. You know what I'm saying? There are people dying for all the wrong reasons. There are people murdering cops for all the wrong, murdering the wrong cops.
Yeah.
The wrong cops. Because that's what this is really about. Is it justice if your revenge is full of injustice? Like, I don't know what to, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's get real. You know what I mean? If your revenge that you're seeking, everybody got this mindset of fuck the police, so let's go get them right now. I mean, there's a lot of murder in the streets where I live at. It's a lot of murder, bro. They telling me every other day, like, the cops is out here killing the youth, and it's like, Come on, like it's some cops that wake up in the morning and they ready to pop a ninja and get it done. Like it ain't nothing. Not like that's what they seeking, but they ready and they about it. You know what I'm saying? Like that vibe is not even, that's not even acceptable, bro. But then what about the cops that we just told y'all about? Right? Was he in the military? Was he a cop?
Who?
I'm sorry. We just talked about two of them. One was in the military and one was in the cop. Both was in the military. Well, I mean, fuck it. Shout out to the cops. Shout out to the armed forces. You know what I'm saying? Like, shout out to anybody that's out here trying to do right, because you ain't even have to go to their school or get a badge or none of that to prove nothing to me, bro. If you got it right in your heart and you willing to put your life on the line to make a difference and help your community, like, big ups to you, bro. Because there are few and far between good cops, good physicians, good mayors, good president. Like, where the fuck is those at? Like, the more I look in the history books, I don't know about these good presidents. I don't know. The more the FBI keep releasing tapes, I don't know about these good mayors. I don't even know about any of these idols and these icons. We go look at who your streets is named after, bro, and you go look them up, bro. Like, no shout out to Chavez, like Chavez, whatever, man. No, she Guevara, man. What the fuck? I'm not fucking with. I'm not fucking with, man. Nobody who fucking over they people, young. Like, I'm not with it, bro. I'm not with it, bro. All I'm saying is, you gotta be down for something, bro. Over here at the Unknown Unknowns podcast, like, it's all black everything. This is our experience. This is our very fucked up ass life the way it is. And that's why I feel the way I feel. Just like he said, like, all lives matter. Yeah. But black lives matter. Nigga, we been dying for years, bro. Like, what y'all gonna do about that? When the excuses gonna stop? When it's gonna stop? Because that's all we getting is excuses and people losing their life. Like, you want to talk about the Donald Trump recordings? They out here talking about this man up here lying, talking shit on the tape, not lying. Hold on, he's only talking shit on the tape, not lying, allegedly, not lying about definitely, absolutely knowing what was popping in the streets, and then getting on the news and being like, yeah, nah, it's all good, it's sweet, we winning, we gonna win, we gonna keep winning.
What are we winning, Mr. President?
Like, when is keeping it 100 million gonna be the norm? Answer that, IG. The answer is never. Fuck that. You ain't even gotta answer the question.
When keeping it real
goes wrong, nigga. When hell freeze over, you know what I mean? When pigs stop playing baseball, you know what I mean? Like, I just want the world to be a better place, bro. And I'm telling you that it's a struggle and trying to recognize and see. Like they say real recognize real, bro. It's real hard. It's a lot of fake ninjas with some really great disguises on. I don't care what your race is. There's a lot of ninjas out here with real, carefully designed fuckery.
Mm-hmm. The Batman Gambits.
What's the name of that movie where they killing people because the law said it was okay?
Purge?
Yeah. They got their purge mask. They got the best mask on. You didn't even know what was purge. They got on the mask. That's their purge mask. You didn't even know. Alright? So, listen. I just want to keep it 1,000 with y'all. So don't trust authority. You know what I mean? I just wanted to, you know what I'm saying? Like, we get real deep on here. You know what I'm saying? Don't trust authority. It ain't even, like, that was my last thing right there, though. Don't trust authority. Does that make us anarchists?
That is...
Because we on the FBI watch list now. We already said that. We already said that. Like, we are nobody over here at the Unknown Unknowns podcast. But we might end up being somebody. Like, real soon. If y'all would just follow us on Instagram.
I could be very wrong in a few seconds, but personally, I don't think it makes us anarchists. It just means.
Okay, anarchy. A state of disorder due to absence or non-recognition of authority.
So kind of. Yeah. Kind of.
I mean,
That's
okay, anarchist, a person who believes in or tries to bring out
anarchy.
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 But I'm not trying to bring out disorder.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I questioning
authority.
authority.
Or no, it's a state of disorder. Yeah, I'm not trying to bring out disorder, but I'm definitely questioning authority. Yeah, this is confusing. Okay, anarchy, absence of government and so it's the absence of government, but also absolute freedom of individual regarded as a political ideal. Like self-worship, I'm very confused.
Chaz Chop in Seattle.
I'm not an anarchist, bro. I just believe that our government is fucked. I believe that. And we don't have the right people in charge, like you know what I'm saying?
Smaller government.
Who do you trust, bro?
Bernie Sanders.
Trust your God. What? So what are we doing, guys? Are we just gonna write Bernie in? Like,
yes, either that or Joe, whatever her name is, Jorgensen. I don't know. She's pro 2A.
Anybody but fucking Biden.
Anybody but pedo Biden and
pedo Biden
and Trump.
Ooh, we gonna do a politics episode?
I guess.
Hit us up for the politics episode, y'all. We're gonna do some research. Like, we need somebody who like know what the fuck they talking about.
Yes.
We need somebody who's like following what's happening. Man, thank you for joining us. Hit us on the IG, unknowns, period, unknowns, the unknown, period, unknowns podcast. You already know how to spell it. I already did it too many times. You want too much. But we love you. And we thank you for joining us. Man, share this with somebody. Man, represent. Big shout outs to any and everybody in the world. Fuck Donald Trump.
We're singing two entirely different songs.
Fuck Donald bullshit. Bye, y'all.
Do a barrel roll.